I don't know the picture, I'll talk about housing. Yeah, it's mentioned several times, people mention the handbook. And so I just thought I would my opinion here, I just around 63 to look at or to help pull the hinge out at your ears. I think we can get more of them for sure. from historical conservation. So, as chairperson, calling the meeting to order. First, I want to make a motion to accept the minutes from February 18th. I was not here, so if someone would like to second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, minutes accepted. Next, we have review and approve of current agenda vote. Looking through this agenda, I don't know if we just straight up approve it or if I have to put a motion for anyone to resolve anything else. Did anyone have anything else to the agenda you wanted to bring? Oh, yeah.
Did anyone have anything, did you have anything for the agenda, Malcolm?
Yeah, I had asked for us to continue the conversation from last month. I submitted it on, I tried to submit it before the 10th to through the email, through the Microsoft email.
What is the agenda item?
It's to continue the conversation about unlocking HRC power. The presentation that I did last month to get feedback from everyone to see if they were able to review it. So just continuing that conversation.
So I'm going to vote for feedback on Mocha's presentation from the February 18th meeting. Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor? We will add that to old business. Yeah. So I'll add that to the old business feedback. Okay, chairperson update and report. I know that Melanie has something. She's running a little late to pick her daughter up from tennis or softball, I don't remember. So I'm gonna motion to move that to a later part of the meeting so that when she's here, she can give her report. Can I get a second for that?
Second.
All those in favor? Great, all right, chairperson's update and report. I will move to after old business to the very end. So next item, people belonging updates. Alicia,
We don't have any updates for you all at the moment.
not a single thing.
Nothing that,
Wow.
I brought along the landlord tenant handbook because y'all have been talking about education and housing is on your work plan. So we had been talking about resources. I can't remember if it was last meeting or the meeting before. I saw a couple, so I grabbed them. If it's a resource that y'all think would be helpful, either in a housing specific event that you think you might end up having, or if you just want some for your table while you're out tabling, just let Anisia know, or me, or Evelyn, and we can figure out how to get a pile of them so you can share them.
I can do that. I do want to bring it into the conversation for whenever we continue our conversation with the, I keep wanting to call it HUD, it's not HUD. Who did we speak with?
HCD.
HCD, not HUD. I want to bring that into conversation because you guys, like Sherry and I were just talking about, I really think tenants' rights should be more spoken about in terms of fair housing. So whenever we do that event, I want to get some of these people involved to also present that.
Okay. Yeah, the only updates I had were for, the Triangle, Plaza event, but she told me you all weren't tabling, so
Yes.
that was the only thing. And also, if you're planning to do any of their summer events, if you would scan the QR code and go ahead and sign up, and then, at a later time, prepare to discuss if you would like swag items, and, we can schedule a meeting to discuss tabling and hours and things of that nature, so that we're not burned out and that we're effective tabling.
Perfect. One thing from Evelyn and Melanie, we've been working on updates to the website, and I am to advise everyone to check it out. And if there are more resource links that you want to send to Evelyn to be on the resource tab on the website, please send it to Evelyn. She's the one who goes through it, makes sure legal that counts, and it's not something that's gonna be frowned upon. So whenever you have those, please take a chance to look through the website, look through our resources tab, and anything that's important to you, any causes important to you, organizations in the area, any partners we work with, send those to Evelyn to put on the site. Let's see.
I have a question.
Yes.
Maybe think.
What?
So if the, is it, we break up our webpage or anything tomorrow? Or not?
Can you,
Is there a way that we can bring up our webpage at the same time we'll get it on my screen there?
mhm. Things on my part, we've been sinking my way.
One may be a misunderstanding one, but one is.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. We need. Let's go to activities and events first.
That's on our, the activities
Yeah.
and events.
HRC resources is the one that are.
Okay, I was looking at people and going.
Yeah, that's,
right. But did we put that our calendar and everything well, right?
That's right, we were doing that.
And what, that caused me, I was positive when I looked at that, because it didn't have anything that had to do with people don't belong to HRC at all, like any of our events, if anybody worked there in the community. It had wonderful things like National Women's Day and all these events, but it is, if you look at it, like, what is the community, you know, like, that would be the question, what is the community do? If you look at the calendar.
so you would like for on the HRC resource page to have activities?
Yeah, I think Evelyn has done an amazing job creating that calendar, but it doesn't show, and maybe it's just because we're at a slow period, I don't know. But it doesn't, it doesn't, as a member of the community, if you look at it, it looks like we're doing basically nothing.
Would you like to schedule, we can talk about later scheduling a meeting and then you can come in with us and we can go over that?
Possibly, sure.
Okay.
Get,
Well, we did, yeah.
yeah, that's,
As well.
is that,
Amendments.
okay, so yeah, that's a.
And then I've got, and I might be wrong, I think. Did we submit on the resources page all of the local resources that both can go to for assistance? Because
That's what this is.
but I thought we had things like Athens-Pride or all of, okay, when I went there today, that was squared up.
It was probably. You have to go to HRC and then you have to go to HRC resources.
You have to kind of give a little bit.
Yeah, but this is the page I'm talking about. If there's any adult organizations, events, groups, local Athens that you think are a good resource for people to know about, just tell Evelyn to get it on this page and then put it under whatever tab needs to be under. That's the only way we can really work to update the site in such a way. But this has all of it on there. So you're welcome to do that anytime. Just reach out to Evelyn, be like, I'd like to add this to the page. Thank you so much. And that's pretty much all it takes.
Morgan, one thing we might want to do, sorry, is just go around and do introductions since it's Michelle's first meeting.
Oh my God.
She doesn't know everyone already. Sorry, it just occurred to me like, oh, I know Michelle, but Michelle doesn't know everybody.
That makes total sense. Okay, so just finished people and belonging updates. That is the updating people and belonging through Evelyn. So yes, I would love to do that, Michelle. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Well, hi, everybody. I don't know everybody, there's a couple of my favorite that follow this group. Hi, Mocha. I know you, at least, so great. I'm Michelle Wendelson. I've been in Athens for a little decade now. Before that, I was working in local government in my hometown, which is Salisbury, North Carolina. That's where I'm born and raised. When I first filled government, I was like my first full-time job, and my staff position, one of my assignments was to be the staff liaison to our agency. So I was not a commission member, I was more like an easier, probably, taking notes and taking directions and things like that. But it's a part of, community work that I've missed for a long time now, and so happy that Athens has an HRT, and I felt like, I had, And so the time's gonna be engaged with the HRC and see if, I could be a commission member. So honored to be appointed, be part of this group. I'm just so glad that Athens has an HRC, and, the HRC I worked with was, established in like 1989, and so they're very, very active and been doing things, and they ran me around. So, hopefully I'll do that to you guys. But yeah, that's kind of my background in some sort of that work. My day job, I'm the director of the Historic Athens Wellness Center, so we do get to see a lot of newcomers and get to welcome people to Athens, and so I know people in the belonging department also are very welcoming for people in Athens. So I feel like I'm around like-minded folks here, so happy to be here.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Here, it's really exciting. Thanks. Yeah, everyone, if you just want to introduce yourself, Michelle, give a little bit, I guess we'll just go this way. Corey?
My name's Corey, been at I have been working or volunteering with government issues and workers for about 10 years. Both between Georgia and Texas, so enjoyed it a lot. But it's a lot of wonderful work, a lot of exciting work, but we get a lot of it. And here we are. But we did not have issues or anything like that. But it's not because so much time. So it's very enlightening to have that here. That's one thing I actually researched before.
Well, Corey, I'm not your last name.
Mounier. I'm Mounier. He's Glisten.
Okay, listen, you did.
Yes.
Cool.
Your last name for it is now, that's beautiful.
He's the Georgia.
Some big little.
That's
I'm Morgan, I'm the vice chair here, been vice chair for the last 2 sessions that I've been here. I've been in Athens for like 2 years as a resident, but I moved to my grandparents' house and they've been here since 1958, so I've been in the area. So yeah, my biggest issues that I like to work with are, they fall under affordable housing and healthcare accessibility. So those are 2 topics that I really like to focus on for our mandate. Yeah, I'm so excited you're here. I am so happy you're here and that you can recall your welcome.
Hi, been Zella. Been in Athens a long time. I'm not originally from Athens, so I've been in Athens long enough to say that I'm an adopted Athenian. I do a lot of community work, worked in the community for over 25 years. Housing is my big baby. And saw the opportunity to be part of a change here at HOC, so jumped on the opportunity.
You know me, I'm Ilka, so I'm here, in the context of being the interim director of People and Belonging right now. Anyway, I was so delighted to see when your application came in and then when you were appointed, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
My name is Brandon. I shook your hand earlier, but I'll introduce myself as someone who's been in Athens since about 2015. So I've been here almost 10 years myself. 2015, and my wife, we came down here because she is a veterinarian at the university. So she finished her vet school, and we just really liked Athens. And being in the community for that long, I think at a certain point, I was like, I'd love to be able to make a difference in the community and not just be a resident, but also be more involved. And so that's what brought me here.
Your turn.
My turn.
Mocha?
Hey, I'm Mocha Jasmine Johnson. Michelle and I already know you, but I'm the co-founder of the Athens Anti-Discrimination Movement. We advocate for racial and social justice. We do this work on a daily basis, and we hit our 10-year anniversary this year as far as doing that kind of work for Athens Anti-Discrimination Movement. We also produce community events. We have my husband and I have an event production company, and I wanted to join Human Relations Commission to see if there was anything that I could do from another angle outside of I'm in the field every day doing this work, so I'm just trying to see if there's something else I could do from another angle. So that's why I joined the Human Relations Commission, and to learn more about what you guys have been up to and see how I can contribute.
Cool. Thank you. I'm Anicia Crew. I am the data and policy coordinator, also the staff liaison for the HRC. I've been in Athens since I was 8 years old, so well over 30 years. And I'm just excited to work with y'all, and it's been great so far.
Well, I'm Sherry, and I've been in the area for, not since I was 8, but for over about 32 years. I retired from teaching at UNG, and I love being involved in the community, and anything that helps us be nicer to each other is my interest. And so that's one of the reasons this committee interested me.
Once we run the awareness and reporting, or at least you've seen more of it from policies and policies. But big years, it's like my brother. So I used to agree with that in the area. As far as why we're joining the mission, I think I'm going to give back to the community this time. But in a way, you're also be romance. So when I'm just going to use about 2 8 through it was used to be part of it.
Yeah, okay. We're for dinner. I'm in the attorney's office, and we don't come very often, but I'm invited tonight. Just, I've been here for years as well.
You're welcome.
Not, attorney's office about 2 years. And I'm going around, I'm also in the attorney's office, and I have been in 4 years, I've only been working on this about 6 months. What I did was the criminal defense came to my role in the office each year, so, it's been fantastic getting to know, local government from the criminal defense in the beginning, so it's really good. Thank you guys for coming too, I always love it, it's really nice. Yeah. So on that, and push forward now, being the fill-in chair. Public comment on old business. Is there anything that's come to it? No. Old business, summer tabling sign up. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. Please sign up using the QR code. This is the brilliant way to do it. I thank you so much for doing it this way. We have Pride Fest, Juneteenth, and Hot Corner all coming up in June, and then July we have our retreat. So we'll take a break from tabling for a while, and if you can make it to any of these student events, that would be awesome. Anicia, is there anything to add to summer tabling sign up? I didn't have any new information about it.
Basically, right now, I just want to get you all find out who's committing to it, please, if you can. If you're going to commit to it, please hold it. Hold yourself accountable, and actually, I understand emergencies happen. And also, once I have the list of who wants to sign up, we'll have a small meeting and we'll just discuss, what we plan to table, what we're gonna talk about, what information we're gonna present, what swag items. We'll just go over everything, but, I ask that everyone at least attend one.
Yes. I did have something to ask you from that. Maybe you talked about it when I wasn't here last time, but we kind of established, we'll talk about surveys, but limiting the amount of stuff that we keep on the table in order to keep the people more informed from that. Has there been any conversation about what we're limiting and what we're keeping out?
Well, what I would like for you all to do is have a discussion amongst yourselves and find a couple of items, valuable items that you would like to table with, and then when you're tabling, that serve as an incentive for taking the survey. It's good to give people things, but, we more so need that data, so when you're passing out things, you say, okay, thank you for taking the survey, here's a water bottle, or, just to try to get that engagement and to get that data.
I will say for the summer events in particular, if you could keep the fans in the water, I think that's great, just for people to not like die while we're out there. This is so hot. Those things go really quickly and they bring people to the table, but everything else is kind of just wandering over like the bubbles and the stickers and stuff. So if we can keep those as the big items, I think that would be great for people to get what they need and also have a good conversation.
Right.
So.
And I went ahead and reserved the water monster for every single event that we
Yes.
have. So that's good. And then the fans will be easy to get as well.
Does anyone else have anything?
So at all of these events, we're gonna have a table, is that what we're gonna do?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just recommend that if you can, just break it up into shifts so no one becomes overwhelmed. And just like with Hot Corner, it runs from 10 to 10. We don't have to table from 10 to 10. We can set up at 9 and be done at 3 or 4 because I want you all to be able to actually experience and enjoy the festival as well. But we need to just focus on getting the data collected as well as getting the engagement among the community.
The other thing that I think we should focus on before it happens for Pride Fest is whether or not we walk in the parade, because I found it's one, unbearably hot, and then two, by the time the parade's lined up and we're all there, like we're ready to go after that. So figuring out a good strategy for it, are we walking in it? Who walks in it? Whoever's responsible for walking should not have to do any of the tabling, because it's just, I think the last one we went to when I was there and everyone else was in the parade, and I was like, I can't get people to sign stuff and do stuff because they're just like, well, where are the hot pads and where are these? I'm like, I don't know. So, figuring out the structure of us doing Pride Fest and who's gonna be walking in the parade should not have to do a lot of tabling.
And I took your advice on that. So as part of the survey, it asks, what do you want to do? Do you want to walk in the parade? Do you want to table, or if you want to do both? So those options are there.
Anicia, you're a queen. Thank you so much. The other part of old business, sorry. What's up?
As in regards to tabling, this weekend for Women's Fest, if you guys have anything that you want me to bring to Women's Fest and to put on the table, because we're gonna have a resource table and we have other organizations that's gonna be able to give us stuff, regardless if they're physically there or not. So if there's anything that you guys would want for me to put on the table at Women Fest or distribute this weekend, I can pick it up from Anicia.
I think we should definitely have the cards for the non-discrimination ordinance and how to sign up for that, or how to put a discrimination complaint in that. I think that's a good one to have. Our normal little HRC cards that are kind of like this, but sideways, I think that's what we're gonna have. Are you gonna put anything for people in the line too?
We're just gonna do HRC items.
Those are the only two things I think
Okay.
that I can think of.
And Mocha, I'll have those ready for you. I'll get those ready today. I have CPM tomorrow, but I'll have everything ready Friday, even if I have to bring it to you.
All right, sound good. I guess I'll talk to you because one more person is trying to drop off stuff. Forgot her name, it slipped my mind. But for the economic office, I was gonna have her drop it off to you too, so that I can pick
Okay.
it. But I'll coordinate that with you.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect, thank you, Mocha. Okay, anything else anyone wants to bring to the table for summer tabling questions, ideas, merch, or women's resources? Options?
Just a simple request that maybe when you guys are texting, or if your subcommittee meets, to kind of get that request in within the next month of swag items, to give us time to order those and not have to pay for advanced shipping and.
Perfect, okay, yes, I will make a note of that. Okay. So next is old business is the HRC website and search page. I kind of already went over that. So again, if you guys could just take a look at that, add some stuff. It's just an ongoing rolling basis. There's no deadline. So anything that comes to mind ever, just send it to Evelyn. You can copy me and Melanie too if you would like. You don't have to. I don't need to know it. But anything we can do to provide resources for Athenians is always great. So just recommend anything you come across in an event, send it over.
Okay, get signed up. What we're gonna sign, what were we going to sign up for this event?
On there's QR codes to sign up for them.
Have to be sophisticated with the phone.
And if you want to, you can just tell me afterwards. If you don't want to do the QR code, you can just tell me afterwards. It's just that it's easier for me to track, and then you can know what you're signing up for.
Sure.
I'm gonna let Melanie in the day.
Oh, I will.
Sure, okay.
Oh, you got it.
You run it back.
Front.
So that we can end on business and Mocha for feedback on your agenda items in last month. I'll let you start the conversation, Mocha, and then we can just go on your updates.
I'm hoping that everybody got the document from last month, but I was basically talking about unlocking HRC power and more focusing on policy and making policy recommendations, and also looking at the current ordinances we um, that we have access to, and to work together as a team to kind of look at pathways that we want to create where people can access, whether the discrimination complaint, especially dealing with the alcohol and maintenance ordinance, or even educating people about things such as this new housing reform resolution that was passed at the mayor and commission meeting. So aligning things with, like, next month is April, and that's how Fair Housing Month. Is there an ordinance or a resolution that we can educate the people about, or is there ordinance or resolution that we can take a deeper look at as a team to see if it's working, and to make recommendations? So after I reviewed the bylaws, reviewed different languages, documents, and reviewed videos from the past, I was just concerned, and I'm trying to motivate the team to start looking into policy and also making policy recommendations. And I know that it will take time, but I want the team, the group, to make these decisions on what ordinance or resolution they want to look at, how we can educate the public, and what kind of pathways we can create so that people know how to access these things if they want to file a complaint. Even last month when I was speaking, Ilka was saying that there hasn't been a lot of complaints at the at the attorney's office, and there's not going to be a lot of complaints if people are not aware that that opportunity is there. If we're not doing our due diligence to let people know that there's an office that they can go to file a complaint, because we still get discrimination complaints, you know. And so we've seen a lot of stuff that has happened downtown. They're borderline, and people don't know where to go to file a complaint, and we need to let them know that these mechanisms exist, and then also as a group for us to use our power to make policy recommendations, because that is a huge, huge thing. And we can really make a difference whether or not if I was to leave this committee and um, and as a group, we made some substantial policy change, it will last beyond us. And I think it would benefit the community in a larger way. So I just want us to hone in on our power. And that's what I'm pushing for while I'm here. And I want the group to make these decisions, to decide together after looking at the document, like, hey, I think we should talk about, what about this ordinance? We need to know more about this. I want for us together as a group to make these decisions. And then also, if we want to become more educated or need guidance as a group, for us to make that decision on who's going to help us do that.
So I did send an email out last week, or the week before, I can't remember, to the policy subcommittee, which is you, me, Nicole, Reason, and I put Mocha, because you want to be a floater between policy and the outreach. So you're in it too, for us to set up a meeting together and pull a couple of pieces of policy that we can add recommendations on, because I have found when we throw everything, it never gets done. So like a couple of them at a time to start with would be really awesome. So if there's something in particular, like right now, that you would really love to bring to the table, go ahead and send an email to the subcommittee group email that I sent out, and we can get a time on the schedule and work on recommendations for those for the next meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. And then also, I just wanted to get feedback from everybody. I don't want to just, I want to hear from everybody. Did they get to look at it? How did you feel about it? If you did not get to look at it, and you have any questions, I want to build relationship with each one of y'all, because this is our work. We're human relations, people of belonging. So I want to make sure that I'm connected to y'all in some type of way, to where we can have conversations. If you have questions, you can ask me. I want us to feel like we are a team. So I'm not trying to just come and make these this is something that's very important to me, but I also know that it will benefit the community as a whole. If we can really hone in on this, it will benefit the total Athens. So what I want to own in on or recommend that we start with is the alcohol maintenance ordinance, the alcohol anti-discrimination and maintenance ordinance, and also um, looking at um, looking at the resolution and the ordinances around housing and educating people about that, because there's some new things that was recently passed, and just making sure that we're aware so that we can educate people to let them know what has come down the pipeline and how they can use it, if they can use it, and what does this mean around the housing ordinance and around the anti-discrimination ordinance. We need to take a look at that. I don't know if anybody has in years since it's been passed. I think it was when we were doing the work, it was around 2016, I think. So it's been a while. I don't know. But in any case, I don't know if anybody has looked at or if there's any measurements or mechanisms to see if it's worked. How many community members know that this ordinance exists, that you can file a complaint, where to file a complaint. I don't know if those things have been measured and tracked. So those are the two things I want to start with. Anything dealing with discrimination, dealing with downtown, and housing equity and fairness.
I know for a fact, we had you guys in at one session to talk about the alcohol. And I'm here to talk about parking. There were some issues that I had with it last time that were like non-movable for the ordinance, and so maybe that will be solved again this time. But yeah, we'll table that for the new business, so you can actually talk about our ordinance directly. But yes, you're right. I know we did look at that one last time.
And we have visited the anti-discrimination ordinance, and one thing that we did talk about previously was extending the reporting time. The reporting time is 90 days.
Right.
So what we were working on with the last body before everyone left was to extend it to 180 days. And that was something that would have went through the attorney's office and mayor commission, but the body didn't reach that point. But that was a discussion. We did revisit it. And then we found some things about it that we really wanted to see a change, but like I said, it was just a turnover at that moment. So that might be something you may want to look into, you guys starting back, looking at the reporting time. Because if you don't report it in the time frame, then, you have 90 days. So that's something that you guys can think about with updating that, is extending the time to report. But Courtney will probably talk about that a little more.
Yeah, and that is a big thing that came up, because even people that we have recommended to go down to the office to file a discrimination complaint, 90 days is really not a lot. Some people don't even live in Athens, and they had an incident that happened. So it's like they have to get notarized documents. It's not the easiest thing, and it's a short window. So that is definitely something I feel like the team should look at to see if what we can do around that area, and also around the notary part of it. If somebody doesn't live here in Athens, if they get it notarized in another state, just making sure that it is going to be accurate, and also to see if there's a way that people can submit the complaint online, as opposed to having to drop it off at the office. So I have insight from different people that we have sent down to the office to file the complaint, but also I want for us as a team to just review it, like Anisha said, and maybe start with extending the time, but just doing what we can to help people to be able to file the complaint if they have to, and to know that it exists.
So I think that's, one, what thank you for us to both share this, and also I definitely want to put something on your calendar, just like have a conversation with you. That's something I had to do over this last week, over my spring break. And I do want to get together with you, just like on this. I like this a lot. In particular, and this might be a little bit of my just bias, guys, when we do policy review, I think that's something that is for me, whatever we want to see, and also is I can lessen, like, my expectations a little bit more as well. I don't feel like I was really more, both my subcommittee and also for the larger, city. I think we talked about this last time, I don't know if I want to note on, but trying to create more also in some of my strategies. I wanted to be able to talk more about within the work, like framework. My biggest concern, but just area of, I think we're experiencing kind of just that discussion too, is just how all of this fits in, we're directing with the it's set up for the, and so I think a lot of this also becomes into for sure, a little bit of concern as well, but I like a lot of the framework that's like here. Well, look at it, I will say, did not put everything into this LRs person, but I did, I think like what was like, I think we thought that we can pull from a review standpoint also. Not, again, not just the accuracy framework, but actually have the policy driven spaces that we can direct towards, it's like the resource page, our work and table as well. I think there's a lot of opportunities, especially in the regard, and how we use that for policy driven recommendations. That's kind of fine as well.
Yeah. So again, sub-policy, the subcommittee for policy, if we want to set aside some time, I will be out of the country next week. However, please, you know, it's just like, we can set some policy together and we can work on those directly. So texting, group chat, reply to email, whatever works for the subcommittee for policy, and we can get something started to talk about it at the retreat.
And if it ever needs to be a discussion among the body, just keep in mind that you can always call a special call meeting. If, in case you're concerned about quorum, but you need the whole body to meet, I can do that for you. I can call a special call meeting.
Thank you.
Or if you want to meet here to have your small subcommittee meeting, just let me know and I'll book the room for you.
Okay.
So Moga, if you're cool, for feedback, I'm gonna ask everyone for general feedback, like William just gave, but to talk about the policy that you had in particular, I'll put that for the attorneys whenever they talk at the end of new business. Cool. Okay. So does anyone else have any feedback we would like to do? Totally fine, no, the subcommittee will be meeting. Cool. All right, so let's move on to public comment on new business. Nothing here, so. Melanie, would you like to take over as chair for new business as we go? Okay, that's fine. But before we start, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, we got to see each other briefly last week. But hello, Michelle. My name is Melanie. You know where I work. Thanks, you know. So, yeah, this is the commission and we're excited that you're here.
I got in trouble for not doing that the first time, so. All right, so for new business, survey for June tabling. We kind of already went over the survey for tabling, but what was specific that you wanted to bring for it?
You already brought up who needs to do it.
We brought up what stuff we want to add to our new surveys in order to get the right merch. We kind of just talked about June tabling.
Okay, because since I wasn't here, is there a sign up? Was there a sign up? Oh, that's all. Okay, for the surveys for June tapering, I chose 3 people specifically. We'll have Corey, Angela, Shannon. Y'all work on, AP, well, I'm not saying HQC, Pride, Juneteenth, popcorn. Y'all can either take it, one gets, however, you get 1 each, or you can collaborate, on all 3 of them. I want the surveys to be tailored to each event and the type of audience that we believe will be at those events and what their concerns are, what they want to see more from our government and for their community. And as far as guidance, Anicia is going to be your go-to. She has all the old ones that we've done. Any questions that y'all may have, I would direct them to her. But yeah, y'all 3, and I'll make sure to start a group chat with y'all as well, just so Shannon can get this information as well. But yeah, if y'all could get that started and hopefully just have some groundwork on it. If not, if you want to overachieve and have it completed by the April meeting, that would be great. So we could actually, it's not even overachieving. If y'all could have it ready by the April meeting. Because I realized that we need to review it. It'd be nice if y'all send out an email, we all can review it, give our thoughts, concerns, and then discuss it at the meeting, maybe just do a finalization. So by May, it's already ready to go, and y'all can have it ready for you. So.
What is hot corner?
Oh, I don't know. You sound, yeah, no, you're fine.
I can't tell you how many years they've been doing it, but if I remember correctly, it's East Washington, it's the,
High Corner is actually the next,
It's
not
the
this
next-
next block, but the block down.
okay.
And I think it's over 51, this will be the 51st
But
year.
what's it for? What's it about?
It's a historical,
Stay.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, please, please. Go ahead. It's a historical black area of Athens, and it's to be able to, I think, one, raise awareness of that area as a whole and protecting it from also being, chosen for investment to just be something that isn't necessarily part of the community as much.
Thank you.
Like more of
Okay, pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah. Celebration of Black businesses, the historical area.
Cool.
The mural out there is terrific, yes. So yeah, I actually would like to be a part of that conversation too for the survey stuff, because if we're tailoring each one, I've taken that survey on the iPad a few times, and I challenge them, like, I just want to submit this, and it's making me do all the other stuff too. So I would love to be a part of that conversation to see what we could do for the survey.
I like to see too, for the survey questions, more tailored to, like, that's like, if they're actually learning at these events, because we always talk about collaboration and resources, they go to these events, everyone has a good time, but do you actually, like Sherry pointed out, do you know what the event about is, what it's about, and why we're celebrating? So I'd like to see some questions on there about that. And see if people, because I think that'll help also too, when we go back and we share the data, hopefully that'll we can spread with the community as far as the different organizations that take these events, so that everyone can do a better job of pushing that more so than the fun stuff is good, but education is very important.
And maybe, like, all of these surveys too, actually would bring in, like, have you heard about this ordinance? Yes or no? And we can use that input. Oh, they really don't know anything.
Yeah.
So that is a good way to utilize that for the tabling events. Cool. Okay, awesome. So 2026, 2027 work plan brainstorm.
You want me to take it on?
Yeah, please. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so, I added this to the agenda because, yes, we need to start having the conversation about what everyone, I hope, has been thinking about since I brought this up November, December, on what we want to see coming up into our new, work plan for the upcoming year, which will be in July. What I've noticed that we've talked about that I think will be that we should implement into the new work plan, obviously, we're focused on policy and how we can, I don't want to say fix, but, better what's already there. So policy, I would like to see us have collaboration be a very big initiative for us. There are already so many organizations that do so much good work. It makes no sense for us to start from zero when there's people that's already at 65, 35, 55. So that's what I'd like to see us do with, maybe hone on going through, like we talked about housing, economic, despair, that's not the word, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. And find the different organizations in the community that's already working on those highlighted, items that we've discussed and see how we can help them, whether it be in policy, in their own, events in education or resources. Those are the two main that I can think of off the top of my head. I know that, housing will be a part of the conversation, but yes, if anybody had any other ideas that they just wanna discuss right now and would like to see us, implement into the work plan in the coming year.
I will say that, like, the way we got our really only big piece of policy recommendation through for the Pittsfield project was because partnering with the Pittsfield project, the UGA, were the ones who brought it here. So that is also a great way, if we're working with these partners in different organizations, to be like, are you trying to get something through that we can potentially help with recommendations for? That's a good way to combine all the policy and the partnership and events together in one. So if there's any close to you, to your heart that you know, that would be a good place to bring it up for a conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we do make a connection with various organizations that's out here in the field, whether they're small or larger organizations, to see how we can not even like y'all were talking about Unity Day or having a unity event. I think that's a great way of bringing those smaller and larger organizations that have a common grounds to that space. I think we could do better at connecting with everybody on that end. Just because I ask people and some people don't is still not aware of us and the work that we do. But some people know. And yeah, I think for our July, I feel like it's very important for us to also have some type of team building exercise amongst us, so that when we get together, whatever we decide to focus on, whether it's policy and whatever it is, we make sure that we are building a relationship amongst everyone on the team, and we can understand each other so we can communicate and know how to be stronger together. So I would like to see a team, specifically team building activity that helps us to be connected a little bit better, because there's different people. I'm new. Michelle just started, and there's people that's been on here before, you know.
Did
So
we do that?
No, so I want to add, so that was on the agenda for the retreat last year, for everyone that did attend last year. And we all were there, we know how it went. This year, I guess I'll just, find the proper word. We are gonna be very strict on the discussion on said agenda that day. Any extended period of time will be cut short. I am not trying to be rude. I just really want us to get through all the things so we can get to team building, because that was at the end of our agenda. We just never got to it because we got into more in-depth conversations about other things. So just want to let that be known for anyone who wasn't there last year. It's gonna be very, straight to the line. Veer off maybe max 10 minutes. I will be timing it. I am sorry, but we really.
It's a 4-hour event.
Yeah, and we blew the 4 hours and didn't get through a lot of things that I really think was important. So we will be adding the team building and we will get to it this year. That is a promise.
thank you.
Yes.
The retreat.
July.
Yeah.
Was it July 27th? When is it again? What day you're aiming for again?
We chose the 25th, 12 to 4 p.m.
25th. Okay, 12 to.
Which, I'm gonna send a text to everybody. Oh, Mocha, could you please send your number, because I have to add you to the group chat. Because we gotta go and see who all, like, any dietary restrictions, so we can go ahead and get that order in for the food, because I'm gonna try and put that on this year's budget instead of dipping into next year's budget.
Okay.
Gentle reminder, if you're all in a group chat, you can discuss, you cannot vote on anything. Attorney's office, that's correct, right? Because you're basically a quorum and having a meeting on a
Oh,
group
the
chat.
group chat is literally just to be like, are you coming to the?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's just a general reminder.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's sick.
Yeah.
And that is why we only have. We part ways after.
So,
But, this is a show, so we can ask.
yes.
Can you do a motion to extend 15 minutes?
Thank you, I was just gonna say that.
Yes, motion to extend 15 minutes.
Second.
Okay. We're not gonna make it that long, we're on the last, and unless there are questions. But, all right, so we'll leave that there, it'll be a part of old business, next month as far as the brainstorm. I know we got some new members, if anyone has any ideas from it, then you can have that. So I really am excited, the attorney's office discussion. I know we have a few people who really do have questions and want some understanding, so I'm not gonna talk long. Everyone's.
No. Yeah. There's a bar. Okay. So we can see you? Yeah. All right. So, good, but public discussion. I came ready to talk to you guys a little bit about some ordinances that exist. You guys know about them. But particularly the alcohol related ordinances, right? So what I'll do is I'll pass around, but then I'll focus in on the alcohol.
related ordinances. It sounds like that's what you're interested in, but this is a presentation that we did a couple of years ago, actually, but it's still relevant today about the general non-discrimination ordinance. Okay, so I'm gonna pass that around.
And Milka, we'll scan it. Sorry, we don't have it for you right now, but we'll scan it and bring you so you
Yeah,
can get it
that's
down.
And I'll bring you a copy when I bring you the HRC stuff.
Pass the stack over here.
And then I think you guys are really familiar with this at this point. Complaint form, right, which is acceptable. I'm just gonna send it around to you. And then the star of the show, yeah. You do? Here's, I'm talking to you a little bit about where things like sort of how it, and then how it's been going. Then more of it is actually an attorney in the office that prosecutes on ordinance violations. So if there were a case to come, one was like that she already goes to court tomorrow.
Let's make it round. Sorry.
Fire. Stuff like that. Felony burglars, felony children. Great. Okay, so I'll just so they can follow along, but I really just, because I know we only have a few minutes, but just generally speaking, there are two kind of general categories of addressing discrimination against protected classes for the most part within our local ordinances. So there's the one that you're all pretty familiar with, right? The unlawful discrimination, which that's the PowerPoint. That came about, like 2021, right? I think you were a part of it. Oh, we're gonna get it. Oh,
You're on mute.
We can't hear you.
Can you, you heard?
I'm sorry. I think they made the decision in 2016, but it didn't. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up.
I think that one was 2021, based on the date of on the bottom of the ordinance. And I would say, you guys have already talked about previously, the HRC had accepted things, and you guys mentioned them today, some kind of concerns we have about that ordinance, about the 90-day time limit, things like that. I will say since 2021, there looks like there's been fewer than 20, probably, discrimination complaints actually filed. I'm happy to come back to you guys, and we can talk more in depth about sort of why, like the outcome of those situations. I will tell you, generally speaking, they either were rejected because of time. That is definitely an issue. Or we lost participation of the complainant. Do you know what I mean, over time? And so none of those complaints have actually accelerated to the point at which they occur.
So question for them is, what is the, I guess, average time for completion of that process?
Well, once the complaint comes in, the attorney office has 30 days to make a determination about that, about what's going to happen to that. And if they make a determination that they believe that there is some sort of violation of the code, violation of the ordinance, then they'll proceed with a hearing. They'll basically try to schedule a hearing. And in the meantime, they'll try to come up with some sort of resolution to that. So that happens really quickly. So within 30 days, that one. I actually had an intern recently kind of look at all of them. I can bring that. She knows exactly like what the nature of her complaints were and the resolution to this.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It was, specifically, if it's not so much trouble, can you highlight the ones or bring the ones that show where they just stopped?
Yeah,
So we can see if our correlation there.
Yeah, and I will say, just anecdotally, you'll see this in the thing, and this may be something you guys want to consider when you're considering education about this. I noticed that a lot of complaints dropped off because of sort of intimidation by yeah. So that's something I just kind of want to put in the back of your mind. But that's the non-alcohol related. Okay, so that ordinance applies generally to anybody doing business in Athens-Clarke County.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, wait a little bit, you're scanning.
And just in full transparency, that one just frankly doesn't have as much teeth to it as the alcohol-related ones because violations of the ordinances within the alcohol code, the consequences that the bar could have their alcohol license suspended, that could be put on probation before the vote. So that has, right, that has very consequences. So the two, this ordinance, so chapter 6.3 of our ordinance covers alcoholic beverages, right, so the whole licensing scheme and things like that. Within that is 6.3.6, which, and H and I, but I think specifically, I know you guys wanted to talk a lot about H, which is the drug code, ordinance. This ordinance, sounds like some of you were around when this may have got started, but so it's in 2015, a community group and really in, coordination with UGA Student Government Association, really did this, really made it almost like a sting operation the way it looks. You know, they gathered all this incredible data about they would go to bars, try to enter, and then would find that white people would be admitted in looking dressed however they were, but their friends who were black, same kind of clothes, would not be let in. So there was definitely, they really documented all of this in a really comprehensive way. So much so that it quickly became an ordinance. And as soon as it became an ordinance, county got sued by who was that case went all the way through to the Middle District of Georgia. And there was a judgment issued that upheld this ordinance. It's a constitutional ordinance. It's been tested at this point at a pretty high level. But a pretty high level, so it's really good ordinance. And I will say that bar in particular, as a result of the incident, they paid a fine, they agreed to pay a fine, ultimately pay a fine and have their alcohol license suspended. That what had like 2 weekends that they had to serve out. Yeah. So that's kind of a typical, when we impose, penalties on bars that violate ordinances related to alcohol sales. Typically, we'll have them not serve for certain nights, and I don't mean like Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, game weekends, you know, where it's in town, yeah, where it makes sense. So the dress code violation, all that to say, the dress code violation has real impact if you violate. However, since that case, and that case was 2017, 2018 case, we can't find any evidence that there's ever been a dress code violation reported to our office.
One of the things I remember last time I had this conversation why I didn't like this one is because it's so hard to find. And we had suggested, can we also add it to another one of the, like the non-discrimination places where you can find this one there? And it was like, no, it has to be titled with the alcoholic beverage.
What do you mean hard to find? Like hard for a citizen, like somebody?
Anybody. I tried to find it on the website. I couldn't find it anywhere. I remember this one in particular being really hard to locate as a non-discrimination ordinance. I think we suggested, can we have it in other places so that it's more accessible to people to find?
You don't mean like in the municipal code, it's like on the website?
Yeah, that's something you guys can really think, as a committee, when you're talking about verification, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an ordinance, it's definitely how for me to don't, yeah. In general, I will say this about the dress code ordinance, there has to be, I had to think. All right, so the basics of dress code ordinance is that if you have a dress code, it has to be uniformly applied, it has to remain consistent, it can't be one thing one night, one thing the next night. It can't be a proxy for discrimination, right? It can't be used to discriminate against people. It has to be posted. There's rules about what has, the form, like the way it has to be posted in terms of like it has to be legible, like in a font big enough, and it has to have instructions about who to report to our office. If you think that the dress code is being the dress code in general. And then you also have to have a written policy available for inspection by anybody who asks for it, and so Again, this is not, we haven't seen complaints. I think we had one person who started to make a complaint, after that court case, but never followed through with it. But otherwise, we're just not getting these complaints. Yeah.
Question for you. This happened some years ago at a bar that's a decade-based bar here in Athens.
That would be the one.
Oh, okay. And I was wearing a tank top, and it was like 2018 or something like that, and I go into the bar, or I'm walking up, and they're like, oh, you can't come in because you have a tank top on, but women who had tank tops on were allowed. So is there any sort of aspect of these rules where like they can claim like a gender, but like men can't have tank top, but women can, or something like that? So just curious of how that would work, the gender-based thing.
A blog posted dress codes that are on the face. And
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna learn. Yeah. And then it's so.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so just for, and I'm gonna get back to that.
Yeah,
Restaurants and social club, there are some exceptions to the rule. Okay, we're talking about very traditional bars.
yeah.
That's a really good question. Hasn't been, to my knowledge, I don't know, ours hasn't been back to that. I'm gonna suggest that it's probably permissible to have, you know, but I don't know.
And I know,
Tank top and go back and do it again.
well, and I know for a fact, my theory was, because I've heard about the tank top thing, like guys, and usually it's directed at black men wearing jerseys.
Yeah.
And it's like, so even though like I'm obviously like a white dude, I guess, but the, but with the, I guess, I'm sorry. With the tank top thing though, I clearly knew it was like, oh, you're not allowed in here, but this isn't because you're not allowed in here, it's because we want to prevent other people from coming in.
Well, the statement says such a dress code must remain consistent on any given date or for any special event and shall not be used to discriminate among persons requesting admittance. That would include males,
Yeah,
females.
I mean, yeah, do it again,
But
bring
it's-
it back.
Yeah, fast COVID, see what happens, maybe, yeah.
This would be, like, obviously, it was a very thing, but, you know, just seeing, I don't think they're really, this wasn't important, it's a little bit different, it's like, you got turned around, you kind of what you had on, and that was, one that I know several individuals in Butler, just, I begin. Who were turned away from, so they look like, I would never get something like that, but I'm just about so much, just.
It is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. And in fact, I can share this with you guys as well too, because it was an exhibit to the court case. The documentation of like the stories of people going in and the group who put this together did an excellent job kind of building something. They really did. But all that say, we're not getting complaints. So either, I mean, one of two things, right? Either people don't know, or it's not happening. You guys, it was happening.
Exactly. But at the time when it did happen though, I was just like, you know, there might not be anything in place at the time, but as a person, I was just like, oh, well, I guess that's just how it is. You know, like I didn't even, I was like, well, sorry guys, I guess I'll go home now. Y'all hang out and I'll, you know.
Sure. Brought to terms of here, I mean, regardless if it's happening, not be reported or there's information that's the. So we don't, again, I didn't mind, I'm talking about 2022, two individuals, or sorry, had this happen, which is not reported, then on and say. But the best game, we're like, we're really going to tackle, as just as an educational opportunity, we're putting that at the forefront, but there's also this element of people need to know the wording. So there was like, what is the wording that is actually age articulated for special patient? But also doesn't apply to them in a specific, like a specific way, because I can see, I think we got the idea, speaking state on the sign, what's the sign, what is that, it's like all that matters.
Right.
And so if they're being turned away, like maybe that line, it might be almost, they can't see it, it doesn't matter, it's there. But if there's not being implemented back or, and if it's, like, that's the organization. So I think it's, I mean, we know it's happening. But if people know this is the thing that they can touch, and that's the education part of meeting folks.
I wonder if we can borrow from like those that work in domestic violence work where they post things in bar bathrooms where it's like, hey, you know, you're not right, you should treated this way, this is how you can really help, and it's like getting backwards, or it's like a safer place where you can kind of gather your thoughts and sit and look at something. But, you know, that's the joke, I was trying it back.
Right, exactly.
Like, hey, do you feel like this happened to you at any Athens bar? This is an ordinance, and there's room for, you know, people come out of the bathroom and they're like, okay, what I saw there, that.
Also, I think that goes back to collaboration. Well, side note one, we can put on the resource page. That's a simple thing. Add it, put it there. But then also, speaking of communities like, what you said, we know that, you know, but, those are like affiliations and stuff, and letting them know about the ordinance, and then letting them spread it, because they already have the group in place. We're pretty small, we don't know half the groups that are being affected. And going back to your point, a lot of people go through a lot of things, and they just, that's a normal way of life, so they're not reporting, because you're like,
Yeah, it's just.
whatever, that bar did that, or whatever.
That's how it is.
Yeah, so I think that would be our best bet. We could do an education session, I just feel like the truth impact would probably be us trying to figure out what organizations could benefit with that information the best. UGA programs and affiliations, they, for all those students who don't know, they need to know. And as far as like the adult crowd, we could figure out non-discrimination organization, well, you know, I'm 34, I see. But yeah, I think that's how we can like put in action, how we can help with the ordinance being done.
Is there also a limit to how many days you get to report this? Such a big question. And no. Okay. So in the report that's if it's not the 90-day post instant that like there is in the.
She
Heard that?
Well, yeah, maybe I'll have to have it again happen if I decide we have. No.
Extension, what is it? I need an extension on here for another 15
Oh,
minutes.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is such a good question, because no, there's not, and I know that, and I know that, and there are presented and there are good reasons to say it 90 for the other ordinance, things like that, but with respect to this one, so that's a good thing to have, if you're putting the signage up here, like, with the, yeah. And I will say, just generally speaking, process-wise, the process is the same if you have a regular, the non-discrimination, ordinance, if you believe there's a violation of that, and the dress code one, all use the same form, all come to our office, all involve the attorney's office investigating, and then it can be escalated to what's called what is an administrative hearing, so it's before a judge, and this would be Dora. And that can result in for, violations are punishable by up to $1,000 for violation. Then this, of course, carries the additional, alcohol license, ramifications. There's a little bit of a nuance, so I will say, so in looking over, so one that have that 400 code. If we don't find the, substantial circumstances to proceed with an administrative hearing, looks like there is a provision for a crime action, officer as well. So, even if we decide we don't think that there's enough to go forward, that's not necessarily an LBO. An individual wants to, be on.
And what does the $1,000 go towards?
So, yeah, that's a good question. A lot of times, like, if you have a fine in Superior Court or something, it gets split up into some victims advocacy and things like that, but my understanding is it's just something to go.
Not to the person, right?
No, there is no, I will say this, within the ordinance, there is no way for us to recover money for somebody. Now, people do have private causes of action and sue other people, but with regard to, enforcing the ordinance, we can't force people to pay. financial restitution for that, in this situation.
I
Let's
know-
say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, I know in the past you all encouraged us not to push the NDO too much. Can we start back pushing it or
Well, let's maybe talk about
the non-discrimination?
so you were advised not to, and you certainly, I mean, it's an ordinance, but somebody's having an ordinance. Yeah, I mean, that's important, I want to know that. I think we, and it's, the NPO is just, there's just, again, not a lot of teeth to it, so if you want to see sort of impact, do you know what I mean? Focusing on these ones in the alcohol, if you believe that there are ordinance violations there, they just have more impact. So for recommendations, if we decided to do that, like I said, kind of push it, if we recommended some more strict. Is that something? Well, I mean, putting, like how there's a fine that these people have to pay, there's a lot, it has teeth because it is harder to get out of, like, there's consequences. Well, the alcohol license is just.
Right.
That's, you know, that's the teeth. The NPO is punishable, right, in the particular business. Well, first, let's talk about this. These are only for establishments, and not all establishments that serve alcohol, but a certain class of establishments that serve alcohol. The NPO is more broad. The NPO covers all businesses, but there are exceptions. University, state agencies, these are not religious organizations, things like that.
What about a fancy steakhouse that's gonna have a club bar here in Athens?
So that would, well, I don't know, so I don't know if it would be, it depends on the figure, if it would be a class. Is that?
They may be a private club.
I don't know exactly, I think it's being built, sorry, go ahead. Do you know
I
about
think
it?
it's the one at the bottom of those big lofts by Little Italy.
I think so.
I think that's a membership.
It's
agreement.
supposed to be a membership only, like,
Okay,
it's a, yeah, private clubs, yeah, right.
Now, I will say, a violation of the NPO, if a business is, has 3 violations of that, the code provides that there's a way to affect their business license. That is, that's a harder, that's a bit harder than an alcohol license. But again, that requires 3 violations of it, and we've not seen any business have a single violation. So it's just a steep hill. But it's an important ordinance that's on the books, and our office wants to know about any that's being violated, you know, that's our job. That's what's to discriminate based on race and that's the national, not they. Well, they're not subject to 636. Private concerts, it's right, it's a general, for the general NPO, I'm not. Not the seals or orders, yeah. So anyway, any violation of this ordinance, we'd love to get, but if you're kind of looking for ones that, you know, kind of rally. But again, you'd be limiting yourself to just bars, right? So, the regular NTO ordinance covers, we've had complaints related to what? Bakeries, restaurants, do you know, things like that. So, yeah, so it's broad. All right, staff. So I'm happy to talk to you guys more about I know that you guys wanted to see, I was making my little list here. So you want to see sort of the history of complaints, right? And sort of resolution. What else did you guys ask for?
I mean, I did that particularly, like, we could see the ones where they got out.
Okay.
Did say that 9 times out of 10, it needs to be quite safe with us, of course.
Yeah, they were working out. Is there a way for, because again, like with our policy subcommittee, is there anything in any other ordinance that protects the victim from that retaliation or taking them back out of following through their ordinance?
Yeah, like if I were to say, or there was hypothetically, there's someone that got discriminated for having a tank top. If that person were to make a complaint, could the bar, a generation-based bar, could they sue that person for saying like, oh, you don't have anything to stand on
Or
or
at
because
least
you caused this.
threaten you, yeah.
Just threaten me with a lawsuit or them with a lawsuit or something.
Yeah, yeah, shorter, that is, anybody who's doing it. No, I can't think of a local ordinance that would, these are all kind of civil matters, right? These are outside of the scope of government, right? And those, you always have a private course of action against the government in the private, in the civil system. But so no, nothing in the ordinance that is necessarily protecting somebody against retaliation. That's an interesting thought. And I will say that prosecuting these, if it's something that, police has been observing or fire marshals are observing, or, if it comes to an administrative hearing, we would be required to subpoena whoever the complainant is and their witnesses to make our case. So, it's not gonna do, to tell people that, terms are taking place, but, in order to follow down the garden path, not necessarily on the front end, but if they ask who it is, we typically have our discovery policy. I'll show you the videos that we have, the photos that we have, the statements that we have. It's typically on policy, so.
Does the NDO also cover like small businesses that also can be discriminated against for like events and things of that nature?
So the NDO specifically relates to employment, so, or a business that will discriminate based, like, for employment, for accommodations, so yeah, there's some facilities and things like that. I can serve, so trying to, like, lunch counters, we'll work with lunch counters kind of stuff. Housing rental, well, I will say this. I was wrong. The NDO says the right to exercise any right granted under this ordinance without suffering coercion or retaliation. I don't know. I don't know what we do with that. And I'm sorry to come with no answers, but I'm gonna tell you, we've had zero, since the court case on the alcohol ordinance and less than 20 on the NDO. So we're a little in uncharted territory still on doing these ordinances. Really create like a little ordinance violation for the retaliation, something like that. Be great. That's really great. And then I might actually see. To look at the specific elements of it, but.
Yeah, because it's the data showing that most people drop out because they're finding some form of intimidation. I feel like that is not acceptable. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very hard. So really back to, like how I did. So the I references subsection E, 46366. And just looking kind of real quickly at it, E does talk about private events, like if a bar, if someone said, oh, I go to a certain Deckens bar, and they're like, no, it's closed for a private event, there's certain requirements that they have to fulfill in order for it to be like a legitimate private event, so that you can't just say private event when something you don't private event. Yeah. So there is that as well.
Okay, we want to help prosecute these. If y'all are running for these, she loves. A wild ride. These ordinances are important. They represent the will of the commission and the people, and so we want to see them enforced. If you uncover, one person, you could see communities.
Right, but to just so I have an understanding, very clear, small businesses don't have any coverage. This is more so just like your students.
And it's good.
Yeah, like if a small business is being discriminated against.
I think that's actually come up before, I believe. Let me see. I feel like it, the ordinance itself, I feel like it is a violation against an individual, not an entity. That's my memory of it. Yeah, it'd have to be, because the whole thing is about right, free from discrimination because that person's ethnicity, race, color, religion, so businesses don't have race, color.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because like, just like with county work and stuff like that, a lot of counties, including this county, try to implement like having a certain percentage of minority businesses and stuff like that. But if there's events outside of county government, they also can be discriminated against. So I just wanted to know if there was any protection for them, because I know that is on our, if I remember correctly, that's on our work plan as far as minority business and, you know, what they go through.
I will say, every contract that the city, executes, we review all of them every year, that has to include a provision that the business who's being awarded the contract will abide by.
Oh, no, I just, the government has it, but more so like if a large private entity has an event and there's no percentage of minority businesses that are, like, they can just do whatever, they don't have to.
It's not, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, we just threw it all at you guys, but again, we love prosecuting stuff, so if you find infractions, this girl will go to. Yeah, one of the pipeline and one that we have here. Amazing. I think the. It's pretty cool.
It's be cool.
The only thing, I know we kept it on each other. Final question. I'll get all of this information to you guys about the violations, and as you have questions going forward, right? You have really great questions. We're happy to help you answer those. And then if you guys want to revisit sort of those issues that have come up before with regard to the non-discriminatory ordinance about the things that Vocal was mentioning, the time limit, the notarization, things like that, online submission, we can revisit all those issues. They're complicated for sure. I will say just generally, people have to spend off the complaint process anyway. We always so that as long as we're doing in-person submissions like that, that should not be an issue. Cool. So we definitely have that. But if you have any questions, probably but if you have any questions.
So it basically sounds like you would love to be invited back if there are questions or the group starts to dig in.
Happy to talk prosecutions and advocates. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are welcome. It's nice to meet everybody. We all have missing people. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys. We're gonna,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, we're gonna ask for a 5-minute extension, just 5 minutes, yo. Okay. 5 minutes. Almost second, okay, all in favor, aye, great. Because I just need to get announcements out. Because earlier I wasn't here, if I can say this. Next month, I'm gonna put it in the group chat too, we need to schedule doing our headshots. I will say that, I can't remember his name, in communications, however, we can time it out to do it in the work day. So I'll shoot y'all some dates. 3 dates, or maybe. All right, so yeah, I'll put that on there, y'all pick a date and time, and then I can shoot that to her, and you can coordinate, just get it on pictures for everybody. But that's it for the meeting.
Motion to.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Remember we asked you on